The Sodden Knight is the first boss you're meant to defeat in Sodden Sanctuary. If you've never played a Soulsborne game or a Metroidvania, the Sodden Knight can be a daunting first boss. Even if you've platinumed every Soulsborne and broke speedrunning records in some Metroidvania games, the Sodden Knight can still take some time to learn. This is a video guide on how to vanquish the Sodden Knight. After climbing a really long ladder, you'll find the Knight. He'll surely intimidate you until you realize he's just a sad, lonely man in a suit of armor that's drenched in his own tears. Good. Now that we've boosted your morale, let's learn the Knight's moveset. This boss fight is divided into two phases. He enters the second phase when he is less than 50% life, and you'll know for sure by his glue-blowing eyes, but let's not worry about that right now. The first phase has a simple moveset that can be deadly if you're not expecting it. His first and most basic attack is a thrust attack. This move has a very big tail as he winds it up over his head before finally thrusting. His second basic attack is an overhead downward swing. Sometimes he'll do it twice in a row in quick succession, but not always. Just like the previous attacks, this has a big tail as he winds it up over his head. He holds the sword over his head slightly different to let you know which one is coming. His next attack is a leaping attack. This doesn't have as big of a windup as the others, but before he does it, you'll see him squat before leaping. Lastly, he has a ranged electricity attack. He'll raise his hand in the air to charge the attack and then slam it to the ground, releasing two orbs of lightning that trail along the ground in front of and behind of him. Now, for his second phase's moveset. In phase 2, he'll become significantly faster and will be a tad bit more aggressive. He'll begin using a 3-hit combo that is a combination of his two basic attacks tied together with an upward swing. This combo will move him forward about a third of the stage and will do devastating damage. Also, in this phase, he will usually immediately follow up his electricity attack with his leaping attack, which he will usually follow that up with his second and third attack of his new combo. Actually, he'll usually only go for this if you're not blocking, or if you go for a counterattack too soon, so be careful. Alright, that is the entirety of the Sodden Knight's moves, but knowing is only half the battle. Now you need to execute on your knowledge by avoiding damage and maximizing safe counterattacks. Our strategy will focus on melee builds, both with and without shields. If you're a newer player, I recommend using a shield because all but one of the Knight's attacks are safely blockable and will allow enough time for you to still counter hit. Additionally, if you do an unsafe attack, you can usually save yourself from some damage by quickly raising your shield. If you're more of a veteran player, I recommend two-handing your weapon for maximum damage and dodge rolling instead of blocking. Alright, let's dive into the strategy. If at any point the Knight gets you in the corner, just wait for him to wind up an attack and then dodge roll through him. In phase 1, stand very close to him, ready to raise your shield if you have one, and wait for him to make a move. If he thrusts, block it or roll through him and deliver your counter blows. If he does his downward swing, block it or roll through it and wait to see if he does a second. If he doesn't, run up into range and counter. If he does do a second, block it before countering. If he goes for electricity, run back just a tad, and when the time is right, jump over it and towards him and give him the dickens. If he goes for his leaping attack, hold block just to be safe, but because of the range we will be standing, he will usually go right over your head, in which case you can chase him down and land some blows. His teary eyes are now glowing blue. It's time for the strategy on phase 2. Most of our phase 1 strategy still applies with a few exceptions and notes. If he does his 3-hit combo, just block it, or after the second attack, roll through him. If you've rolled through, then give him a nice stab in the back. When he charges his lightning, do the same thing as in phase 1, except after you jump over the ball of lightning, you may notice that the Sodden Knight is now jumping over you. Now, run away from him just enough that his follow-up attack will whiff, then land some good attacks. That's it! With this knowledge bestowed upon you, it is up to you to execute it. The remainder of this video will be a demonstration of what a successful fight, with a couple mistakes, looks like from beginning to end. If you liked this video or found it helpful, don't be afraid to share it to a fellow saltless traveler, or leave a like, or even subscribe. If you didn't like this video, then leave a dislike. This has been Cataran. Thank you for watching.